So what we're talking about here is that Fox Sports's the gentleman's name is David Helman, wrote a story yesterday with some of the veteran guys that are looking for contracts. Look, we do know that Miami's Jalen Ramsey is legitimately on the trade market. They haven't moved him yet. Interesting. Trey Hendrickson's name has been obviously in the news going back to before the draft. He threw in Jonnu Smith, the tight end in Miami, Terry McLaurin, TJ Watt. These were the names. And he finishes with a bang. Terry McLaurin gets dealt to the Raiders, and TJ Watt gets dealt to Washington. But he says he doesn't think any of these things will happen, nor do I. But that's not going to stop us from these hypothetical conversations. So you would certainly have to give up more for J.J. Watt than you would for Terry McLaurin. So if Washington actually traded Terry McLaurin away to the Raiders and got back, say, I don't know, a second-round pick, something like that for Terry, it's not going to be a first-round pick. You're not getting a first-round pick back for Terry McLaurin entering his age 30 season. Could you get a second-rounder back? Sure, I think so. I mean, these are the conversations we have all the time that we're way off on. TJ Watt is a package, man. That's, a first and a second. That's, even though you got to pay him. I mean, he is, one of the best players of his generation. He is, a 7-time Pro Bowler, a 4-time first-team All-Pro player, a 5-time All-Pro player in general, a Defensive Player of the Year back in 2021, twice the runner-up to Myles Garrett, I'm assuming, as the Defensive Player of the Year. And then he would also finish 3rd and 4th in another year, including last year in the Defensive Player of the Year. He's a dominant player. He's got 108 sacks in his 8 seasons in the NFL, 22 and a half back in 2021, got hurt in 2022. Last 2 years, 19 sacks and 11 and a half sacks last year. He's looking for a new deal. Like Terry, he's got a year left, but he wants to get paid now, and I think the Steelers will do it. But here's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to gauge the reaction because many of you have just, you're just built for, no, we don't need to trade for anybody. We don't need to trade up. We don't need to pick a quarterback at number 2. We could trade back and accumulate more picks. Trey Hendrickson, we shouldn't be giving up future picks for a guy like that. So if we just said J.J. Watt and just say the difference would be like, you got to give up a legitimate pick along with J.J. Watt. We'll just say, 2 future seconds for J.J. Watt. Forget whether or not we have them or not. Just, you're going to have to give up a little bit more for Terry McLaurin. It's not what this guy suggested. He trades Terry to the Raiders and then brings J.J. Watt to Washington. But really what I'm looking for is, would you want J.J. Watt on the team if it meant not having Terry on the team? 301-230-0980. This one's easy. I mean, it's really easy. Yes, of course. You're going to give me one of the top 2 or 3 defensive players in the league for a guy who is really good. And by the way, a great culture, locker room, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, it would leave Washington in a current, bind at wide receiver. You'd be going with, hoping that Debo can play big time, hoping that Noah Brown's healthy and ready to go, Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, Michael Gallup, the whole 9 yards. I mean, there would be a bit of, Terry's very important to what they want to be offensively this year. Everybody understands that. You add TJ Watt to this defense, and I think your chances of getting to the Super Bowl and winning it are better. The option being TJ Watt on the team, Terry McLaurin. I would take TJ Watt every single day of the week and twice on Sundays. This is a no-brainer for me. Give me number 90 off the edge, wreaking havoc, needing to be game planned for, making it easier for everybody else on that defense, giving the offense the ball back much more than it got it back last year, turning teams over and giving the offense short fields. Yeah, his impact would be far greater in the ultimate goal of trying to get to the Super Bowl and win it than Terry's presence. And I value Terry's presence and want it and know we're going to get it more likely than not. But this would be an absolute no-brainer. Max, what do you say?
Yeah, it would pain me greatly to see somebody like Terry McLaurin, who has been around this team and on this team for as many years as he has, get shipped out for a guy, or not directly, but a guy like TJ Watt in this scenario. But with the way that TJ is able to affect the game on defense, like the offensive line has to slide another man over or put a tight end on him. So they're already going a man down. It like you said, it feels like a no-brainer, but emotionally it would pain me. But if you have an opportunity to bring a guy like TJ Watt in and put him on this team, I think that's something you have to very much consider. And at the same time, you also have to look at the offense and the wide receiver room and say, all right, how can we supplement Terry McLaurin and his production in this offense with these receivers that we have on hand? And I think that's a lot easier to do on the offensive side of the ball with a guy like Jaden Daniels than it is on the defensive side of the ball with what we currently have in Dietrich Wise, Dorrance Armstrong, Cleveland Ferrell, guys like that.
When TJ Watt came out in the 2017 draft, I was doing the show with Cooley. Cooley was so good at evaluating draft prospects. That particular draft, I'll never forget after he watched TJ Watt and he came in one day and he just said, I have no idea why people are projecting TJ Watt any less than like the second or third pick in the draft. He is and I think he said he's the best player in this draft along with Myles Garrett. And then he said also in that draft, I think this was the Christian McCaffrey draft. He said Christian McCaffrey is not only the best running back in this draft, he's the best wide receiver in this draft if they just wanted to line him up and play at wide receiver. And but God, he loved TJ Watt. He thought TJ Watt was going to be his brother and some. How many defensive player of the years did JJ Watt win? More than one, right?
JJ or TJ?
JJ. TJ's won one defensive player of the year. He's finished runner-up twice. JJ Watt had to win it more than once, right?
3 times, I think.
3 times?
That's according to StatMuse, but Wikipedia also says 3 times. So, yeah.
Yeah. And Washington, remember, had a chance in the 2010 draft to take J.J. Watt. They didn't. They traded back. They ended up selecting Ryan Kerrigan, really good player, not J.J. Watt. Sometimes you got to be careful when you trade back that you're not passing up on a generational all-time Hall of Fame kind of player. All right, 301-230-0980. So, take the draft picks, and it would cost more, obviously, to get Watt than we would get back for Terry. But would you be okay if after, as Fox Sports' David Helman writes, Washington ended up with TJ Watt and the Raiders ended up with Terry McLaurin? Rick in North Carolina, kick it off for us. Go ahead.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
TJ Watt would be my pick. I think it would come down to, like you say, numbers, and pay. Would you rather pay TJ Watt $35 million a year or pay Terry McLaurin $35 million a year?
The former.
I think we can not replace Terry, but I think with our offense and Chris Kingsbury, I think we can. The offense wouldn't really take a big hit, but.
Yeah, your phone isn't great. Sorry, Rick. Your phone, and maybe we can put him back on hold and get him back. But your phone's really muffled. But I think you said, would you rather pay Watt, sort of in that Myles Garrett range of $40 million a year or something just short of it, or pay Terry, closer to $30 million? I'd rather the former. Yeah, I'd rather have TJ Watt and pay him the going rate. They're basically both the same age. Let's go to Owen in Dallas. Owen, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Owen.
So, love Terry McLaurin. He's an absolute, star in our organization on the field, off the field. But looking at the trade, you can't get emotionally attached to players. You learn this as a fan. You just can't get emotionally attached. So I would take TJ Watt. He's an immediate upgrade in what we need in the trenches. He's going to be an immediate impact player day one. And I do agree with you. He's going to be a better chance of us getting to a Super Bowl than Terry McLaurin. I believe you talked about this earlier in the season. Like, not too many teams are game planning for Terry. Sure, they're putting their best corner on him.
Yeah.
But TJ Watt's going to be the number one focus for other teams playing against us. So
That's right.
I just think it's a much better upgrade. He's an immediate impact player, and it would suck to lose Terry McLaurin, but just thinking about this as a general manager, it's a no-brainer, like you said.
Yeah, I think it is. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it, Owen.